Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Primo. Um, this video might be a little long, so I'm gonna explain a couple things before I get into uh, what we're gonna be talking about. As y'all can see, whole lot of new news for NBA 2k20, but I'm gonna like I said, I'm gonna explain a few things before we get into it. So first, my voice, especially because this is gonna be a long video. I do have somewhat of a deep voice, and you know, when I'm talking and everything, I'm sure people have noticed it in the other videos I've done. It can sound like I'm bored, disinterested, sleepy, something like that. That's not the case. My voice is like mad, like really, what do my friends say, melatonin, you know? It's just, you don't hear a lot of excitement or anything like that unless I'm going out of my way to express it or something like that. So I'm just letting people know for future reference, and I'm sure I'll still have to explain it again sometime later because other people will be asking. But yeah, that's just my voice. Now, like I said, today we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of news for 2K20. My last video that you guys will see is a 2K20 video about what we know, and then the night that I posted that, I woke up that next morning and they released a entire blog post about all kinds of new stuff that they were letting us know. And then not only that, but people were going through, you know, asking some questions, and Mike Wang was able to go through and answer some of those questions that people were asking. And in some of those questions he answered told us a lot too. So I'm gonna start with what was in the blog post, and then I'll kind of work my way through any of the comments that he had on there that I feel either are very significant or just, you know, weren't covered enough in the blog post. Now, some of my favorite things from the blog post was, let's see, which one was, okay, so for example, dribbling. People take dribbling very, very seriously in this game, or, you know, a lot of people do. And one of the things they're changing with dribbling is, number one, it's not going to be a whole lot of set combos. Meaning, like, you're not going to be able to, you know, just flick the stick and your dude goes off and does like 3 crossovers and a snatch, and then you can put whatever you want in at the end. Now it's going to be more with every flick of the stick, there's going to be a move, but it's going to be one move. So if you want to do combos, if you want to, you know, do all those different things, move your way around the court with all those different dribble moves, it's going to take a lot more, I'm not going to say skill, but it's going to take more attention. You have to be more careful about what you're trying to do. They've said if you try to do the wrong combos at the wrong time, you flick the stick at the wrong time, you'll catch yourself fumbling the ball and oftentimes getting it picked away. On top of that, you run out of energy with every dribble move. That's pretty much how the game is now. So I don't know how significant that's gonna be. Like, when they said that, I don't know how much of a difference there's gonna be. Who knows? Maybe you lose a lot more energy now when you're dribbling. I have no idea. But overall it's gonna take a lot more, you know, to be able to dribble, especially to be a good dribbler. It's gonna take a whole lot more. And then there's some badges and stuff that are gonna help. I'll get into the badges once I get to his comments, because that's what most of his comments were about. Another thing that I'm really excited about is they've upgraded their motion engine. Now the reason this is significant is because a lot of people will have, you know, the 2K heads, the ones that we all play the game, you'll have noticed, like, there are a lot of times where your players slide around a lot. There are a lot of times, I just talked about this I think in the last video, where your players make unrealistic movements or don't make movements at all because of unrealistic situations. For example, on 19 and 18, if you run into somebody and they're just standing there, most of the time it'll stop you in your tracks and you just stand there until you pull yourself away to go around them. It's not like how it would be in real life where you'll, run beside them, move them to the side and run past them, run around them, whatever you want to call it. I think that should be changed now. It's going to depend. One thing about a new motion system is we won't really be able to tell how it is until we can, play it through the demo in the game and get a feel for it ourselves. But I'm hoping it'll fix things like that. They said themselves it'll fix things like, the sliding around and really being able to plant your feet or go where you want to go when you attempt to do so. So the motion engine, I think of course that's a big part of the game. Movement and all that kind of stuff is very big when it comes to dribbling, when it comes to defense, slashing, all that kind of stuff. Movement is very important. And speaking of movement, one of the other things they've added is off-ball moves. Now, a few friends told me that they used to have this already. I just recently got into 2K like on a serious level, like between 2K17 and now. So I don't remember at which point that was like that. But either they're adding it or they're bringing it back. But either way, 2K20 is going to have off-ball moves you can do. Little cuts, fakes, hezzies, spin moves, different things like that for you to try to lose your defender, maybe catch them off guard if they're ball watching, the different things like that to get you open. And as with many of the other things, it's going to differentiate between not only your play style but your player. So like say slashers like Westbrook will have different off-ball moves. They've said different acceleration animations, even dribbles, all that kind of stuff. Westbrook would say have different moves than maybe more a conservative player like Chris Paul or a shooter like Curry. All their animations are not going to be the same, and it goes all the way down even to off-ball movements. Curry's movements may look like animations that are more getting him open for a shot, while Westbrook's animations are more focused on cutting to the basket. I'm not too sure. Again, this is another one of those things we kind of got to see when the game comes out, because there's no way to know if that'll be exploitable, if some of them will be glitchy. A lot of people are worrying that a lot of the moves will be sort of glitchy, sort of like the D-pad thing you can do this year. So that's another thing. Really with almost all of this, we'll really have to wait until the demo comes out to see, how everything is really gonna work. But for now, we know there'll be off-ball movements, which to me, being a shooter, is very, very interesting. Because I play shooting guard most of the time. I play off-ball a lot. So it sounds nice to be able to make sure my defender is paying attention, and if they're not, catch them off guard and get myself open without ever having to touch the ball. Now moving on from that, we have, let's see what else. They talked about slashing. Now there's been this big thing going on where they said people are saying that they said they nerfed slashers. And I think people kinda got what they were meaning wrong. Because this was one of the parts of the comments from Mike Wang. It actually said, somebody asked how slashers were, if they were getting a buff or anything like that. And Mike Wang said they were actually pretty strong, and if anything, overpowered in the current build. And if anything, they were going to be nerfing where they're currently at. Now, when he said that, I think a lot of people are thinking he was talking about nerfing slashers from 2K19. But I believe what he was saying was, in the current build of the game, whatever game build they had at the time he said that, the way they had put slashers together was too strong, and that they're working on bringing that down. Not necessarily that they're nerfing slashers the way they are in 2K19, but they had already reworked slashers, and the result was a little overpowered, a little bit too strong, and they're working on bringing that down a little bit so nobody exploits it or anything. But they've added a whole lot of different stuff to slashing, not only offensively but defensively too. Like, the way you can block and cut off slashers is supposed to be different. The way slashers go in, the way they can change. Like, slashers, or not even slashers, I'm sure this is for players going in general, but slashers will be able to do it better. They'll be able to, instead of running in just pressing square, they can use the right stick to kinda play off the defender. So if they see the defender coming at them a certain way, covering them a certain way when they're going to the goal, they'll have a different array of moves and animations to be able to counter it, basically. But the defense is also going to have a lot of different animations to try and counter whatever the slasher is doing. So it sounds like it's going to be pretty interesting watching that battle back and forth, you know, like watching Westbrook, say, go in on a Rudy Gobert defensive, you know, rim protector type player, and seeing how that works out when people use it in the game. Moving on from slashers, defense in general. So, and a lot of people are complaining about this because they think it's going to basically be lockdowns getting buffed. Now, some of you that are watching this, and I'm sure a lot of people that play 2K have at one point played NBA Live. Anybody that's played NBA Live 19 knows about how sort of the defensive system is on there, where you can see an arrow wherever the person you're defending is getting ready to go. And if you react to that arrow on time and correctly, you will be able to cut that player off, give them a little bump animation, and sort of make them reset whatever they're getting ready to do. And that sounds like sort of what 2K is getting ready to bring, and a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people think, you know, it's going to be OP and it's going to be too much, but I don't. As long as they do it right. Because, like, the way it is in NBA Live is, yes, if you react correctly, you can, you know, mess up whatever the offensive player is trying to do. But if you react wrong, depending on who you are and how good of a defender you are, you can do anything from be out of position slightly, you know, just a little bit out of position, just shift it a little bit, to be completely out of the play, whether it's getting your ankles broken or your player just ending up in a totally different spot and the offensive player being able to do what they want to do. Now, I would assume, and this is an assumption, I would assume that 2K is not going to make it to where, whether you're a lockdown or not, you can stop everything the offensive player is supposed to do. I'm pretty sure it's something based on timing. If they haven't already said that themselves, I'm pretty sure it's based on timing and it's based on your reaction speed. So if you get it wrong, there's going to be a penalty for it. Same thing with reaching. They've made reaching more of a... just defense in general is going to be more about timing. Knowing when the offensive player is vulnerable before you do different things, before you react to certain things. Getting it wrong, you'll be penalized for deeply. And like I said, probably less so for people that are better defenders. Lockdowns probably won't get penalized as much, or their window for reacting will be a little wider. But it's all going to be about timing rather than spamming or running around just trying to assume what the other player is going to do and see if it's going to help. I like it because it's going to make ISO play more difficult, I hope. Because people did say this before the dribble system changed before, so I hope it's going to make ISO play a little more difficult. and allow the defender to have a little more control over their defense. And it's just gonna make it overall better for defenders. You'll feel like you'll be rewarded for good defense. You know, you won't be locking them up for a while, and just because they get a lucky slide past you or your player doesn't move the way you want them to, they end up getting an easy bucket, and there's nothing you can really do about it, even though you've been locking them up the whole time, you know? So we'll see how that is in the demo. What else do they have? We covered defense, we covered working off ball, we covered slashers. They also say they changed how computers are gonna react and all that kind of stuff and play. It's not necessarily that I'm not worried about it, but that's one that you can't really comment on that one until you see it, because the computer is the computer. Even if they change it, I'm sure after people have played the game long enough, the computer has still become predictable. And you know, probably the only significant thing they did say is now computers are going to play a lot more human-like when it comes to shooting. Like, instead of real player percentage, computers are actually going to be timing their shots. So, you know, playing them on a lower difficulty, you may take that risk and leave them open, see if they'll make it. They'll probably brick most of the time, whereas on Hall of Fame, they have a pretty good chance of hitting the green if you're just leaving them open. Other than that, we'll talk about Takeover first, and then I'll go ahead and get into badges and Mike Wing's comments. So, Takeover is going to be coming back to the game, and they say it's going to have new features. They're going to be changing some of the animations, changing some of the abilities, and make it more balanced across all builds rather than certain takeovers. As people know, lockdowns, post scores. Can't really say playmakers, because yeah, it's bad if it catches you, but there are a lot of ways to avoid it. But OP things like that, OP animations that Takeover gives different builds. Who am I kidding? Like I said, mostly we're talking about post scores here. That kind of thing, they said, is either going to be removed or toned down so that it's fair. So that one I don't trust so much, because I was almost sure that they would get rid of Takeover because of how it was between all the builds this year. So I mean, hey, they think they can fix it and it's still good to be in the game, so we'll see. We'll see how that is once it comes out and see how everybody takes that. And then badges. So with the badges, this is where we'll go ahead and check out Mike Wing's comments. Now, mostly from the badges, what I do know for sure is there are more than or up to 80 badges in the game. A lot of badges have been reworked, a lot of badges have been removed, some of the same badges are still there. And oh, they also have brought, I don't know if I want to say brought back, but park badges. I believe there were already, or they call them neighborhood badges, but it's gonna be for the park, of course. I believe those were in 2K17 though. There were park badges, so same thing. Now, here go a few of the questions from Mike Wing's comments. So, one guy asked, are mid-range Deadeye and deep-range Deadeye combined now, or are they the same? Mike Wing says they were combined into a single Deadeye badge. So, same function as last year, reduces defensive impact on closeouts, but now it works from any range. So now, instead of grinding for deep-range and mid-range Deadeye, it'll just be Deadeye in general, and it'll work regardless of where you at. Not saying that you're gonna make it regardless of where you're at, but you don't have to grind for both badges to be able to get those light contests to start falling. Another interesting thing is the shot meter. So not only is everybody gonna be able to see if you make greens this year, which I love, because you will never have to worry about missing a rebound because your teammate lied about making a green, but they are also bringing back 2K17's jump shot meter. And when I say that, I know a lot of you are going to be like, okay, it's on 2K19 already. All you got to do is turn on your feet instead of your hands. No. People that played 2K17 will know the way the meter filled up on 2K19 is 2 bars coming to meet each other in the middle. The way it was on 17 was 1 bar that just goes half circle from left and then fills up all the way to the right half. If I'm explaining that correctly. But it's different from how it is in 2K19. They're finally bringing it back the way it actually was in 2K17, which I love because I feel like that helped me make my shots more. But on top of that, there will now be a jump shot off meter, or not meter, but you'll be able to turn your jump shot off and actually get a boost if you're still timing it right and taking good shots while your jump shot meter is off. So it's gonna, like Wayne said, it'll be a high risk, high reward sort of thing. You'll get way bigger boosts if you can make sure you're timing it right. But if you're not, then you're even more likely to miss than usual. So make sure you know those jump shots before you decide to turn your meter off. They're talking about what window should be okay for people to still make greens, like, because as we know, the shot contest next year, they're going to be showing it in percentages instead of like light contest, heavy contest, smothered. They're going to be showing what percentage you were contested, like you were 67% contested, 50%, 12%, and so on. And they're kind of figuring out which one of those they want to allow greens to still go off on. Because before 2K19 came, they said, I believe that in not heavily contested, but you wouldn't be able to make greens in smothered. And a lot of people, you can look it up on YouTube, stretchers, shooters in general, have been out here making greens regardless of how contested they are. Now, yes, it's not something you can do very consistently and often, but it still happens. So now Mike Wang is trying to figure out, okay, where do we just shut off greens completely to where you can't even make them if you're this contested, which will be interesting to see. Now, let's see, what's this one about? Penalties for poor timing get stricter the further you are from the hoop. Okay, so this is more about the jump shot meter still. Mike Wang is saying the further away you are from the goal, the worse it's going to be if you're not timing something right. So basically, not timing a layup right, not going to be that big a deal. Taking a 3-point shot, you're definitely going to want to make sure you get it right. Pick dodger still in the game. Dimer and flashy passer still in the game. Contact finisher. So this is a badge they changed. So they took out posterizer and gave people contact finisher, and it was, the thought behind it was supposed to be that now it's gonna be something, not something that anybody can use, but it's not gonna be a badge just that helps you dunk. It's gonna help you finish under the goal, period. Whether you're a slasher, big man, like, you know, and you're trying to dunk on people, or whether you're a little but you're still a slasher, like Allen Iverson type, and you want to be able to make those contact layups or possibly even dunks, depending on what your build or archetype is, and be able to make those around, you know, bigger, taller players on the inside. So that is one badge they got rid of, and, well, not got rid of, but they kind of changed how it works. Pick and roll maestro is gone and replaced by needle threader, which does a similar thing but extends to other passing situations, not just pick and roll situations. So that one will be kind of hard to explain. We'll have to see that one actually, you know, in place. They added the, ooh, this is a good one. They added the ability to pass out mid-dive. So no more jumping and diving for the ball and then having to wait until your player turns around and sits up, which often ends up in you either getting crowded by the defenders and getting the ball stolen when you try to pass it out, or results in you sitting up and kicking one of your legs out of bounds and turning the ball right back over. there's going to be a badge called Fancy Footwork that helps you get past defenders with advanced gathers on the floor, and Acrobat is still there to help you finish at the rim. Fancy Footwork is going to be nice. I feel like that's going to work for a lot of the Kyrie, Jamal Crawford, maybe even Steph Curry type layups, where you get a little dance in before you finish, just to throw the defender off a little bit. I think that's going to be very, very nice. Now, I'm only going to talk about a few more of these, and then we're going to get rid of it, because there are tons, but I don't want to go over all the badges. So, Microwave was redesigned and changed to Hot Start. If you have this badge and can knock down your first jumper, you get a boost to your shot ratings for a period of time. The more shots you can knock down without missing, the longer you keep your boost. That I'm okay with them getting rid of Microwave and making it work like this, as long as, first of all, the boost isn't too crazy, because then, you know, lockdowns or bigs can make their first shot and then be able to be a sharpshooter for the rest of the game. And as long as the boost doesn't last, well, not even last too long, because it's fine for it to last till the end of the game. Like I said, I just don't want it to be too big of a boost. Maybe it be big if you're actually a shooter, but if you're not a shooter, I don't want them giving like a 10, 15 attribute point boost to people who shouldn't be shooting, because that'll kind of make the problem that's already here worse, not better. So we'll have to see how that badge works. One of the badges I'm most excited about is Quick First Step, because like I said, different animations for different type of players. So that first step out of triple threat where you explode, there's going to be a badge for that called Quick First Step, and it's going to give you, I wouldn't say blow by animations, but it's going to allow you to get past your defender a lot faster, I would imagine. I'm excited for that badge, because when I play one-on-ones, ISOs, whatever, my biggest weapon is the triple threat. And having a badge that allows you to get out of that triple threat quick and make your defender pay for guessing wrong on which way you're going to go, it sounds perfect. There's also going to be a badge called Handles for Days that allows you to keep up stamina while you're doing a lot of dribble combos. I believe as long as they're successful. Don't know about that one too much, but you know, we'll see. Catch and shoot and difficult shots still in the game, not too much of a change. There is a fadeaway badge now though that I don't think is tied in the difficult shots. They mentioned it for post scores. I imagine shot creator type builds, if shot creators are still a thing, will get it too. There's also like a step back badge for step back jumpers. Those two badges I'm a little worried about. Feel like they could turn out OP, but we'll see. Bump steals, they say, have been improved and changed. I would imagine that based on the movement engine, that, you know, that probably would change a lot. So we'll see how that goes. Bump steals are very annoying, especially for like playmaking or dribbling builds. You definitely don't want to deal with bump steals all the time. Last badge I'm going to talk about here, and then anything else you guys want to ask, you can ask down below in the comments, or anything you're concerned about with any of the badges I have talked about, or you can go straight to Mike Wang's Twitter page. In the tweets and replies, he talks about all of it, and you can see all of it. But the last badge we're going to talk about is Volume Shooter. Now, my friends told me that Volume Shooter was once in the game before, and it had a negative to it. Don't remember exactly what it was, but basically it wasn't a badge you wanted to have. It's been reduced now. Oh, okay, that's what it was. Basically the way it was before is lack of shots or not being able to shoot. Say if a teammate is ball hogging, would make your player cold. Now that's removed. It's a positive only badge. So that'll be pretty interesting to see too. But for now, guys, that is all we know. There are a few other things I left out. I tried to cover the main things, the important things. Appreciate you guys watching. Like I said, any comments you might have, leave down below. And leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe for more. I'll definitely be bringing more as 2K20 comes out with their demo, the game, and so on. And I appreciate you guys for watching. Peace out.